This is a NovaPen 3. This is the old one that, Novo Nordisk is the Danish insulin company. And they're the only ones that really do serious pens anymore. There's a lot of plastic pens that are like one usage ones. And the problem with those is that they're kind of structurally unsound. So you might dial them up and they'll jam, or they're just not very good. So if you use these, they're refillable and they're easy to refill. Even this one, this old one, is not too hard to refill. Let me show you. So you put the cartridge in, but the problem is when you refill it, you have to rewind this, and that takes a little bit of time. And then when you put the cartridge in, the cartridge just goes in here like this, and then you have to screw it down. And then you have to screw the needle on the end. Now, everybody says that you should change needles every time you to give yourself a shot, but that is so much hassle. I mean, like once a day, put a new needle on, you're good to go. So then you don't have to do it every time. This is what's available in the United States. This one you have to get from Canada. It's a NovaPen 4, and it's actually quite an advance. One of the things is nice about it is it comes apart just like that. You don't have to unscrew everything. And when you reset it, you just go like that.
Loved it.
And it resets. So when you put it back together, same thing in reverse. And then it just clicks in rather than having to screw it in. Put your thing on it. And when you use it, this one, if you click to set your number of how many units you use, and and then you push it down. But this one, you can adjust it. You pull this out and you can adjust the numbers, and it doesn't actually push the thing down until you actually do it. So you can adjust it. For instance, like if you make a mistake and do it too high, you can take it back. You can't do that on that one. So this is actually light years beyond. And there's all those Canadian pharmacies that sell stuff, and you can buy it from them for actually cheaper than you can buy the old one. It's just so handy. You got it with you all the time. You keep it in your pocket. You have half a scone. Bam, that's it. BD, the big needle company, has these ads they put out to try and discourage people from reusing needles. So they have this microscopic view of a needle after it's been used. Mm-hmm. Well, there was a guy who was job involved using that kind of a microscope. So he tried to make a needle look like the one in the advertisement. And he said the only way you get it to look that way is like drop it on the floor a couple of times. Mm-hmm. That just using it would never make it do that. Uh-huh. The other oddball thing is meters, and the hospitals always seem to ship everybody out with these needles that are meters that are made by Bayer. Mm-hmm. Accu-Check, I think they are. They are the worst. They're just they work. But the problem is that they require a large blood sample, and the hassle is like you punch a hole and you look at that little thing of blood and you go, is that enough or is that not enough? And if it's not enough, then it won't work, and you've wasted a strip, which costs $1 a piece. Uh-huh. So I use Freestyle. Freestyle Light is my favorite one now. It's the new one, which is so awesome. I mean, you can take a dot of blood that's so small, and bingo. There's a couple of websites. One is Parents of Diabetes, Children with Diabetes, I think it's called. And they are really good, like in reviewing equipment, meters and stuff. There's no holds barred, where a lot of the blogs and stuff that are on websites about diabetes are sponsored by commercial entities, and they're always afraid to say anything bad about it. Right. Yeah, a guy named Mendoza that has a diabetes website, and it's pretty no holds barred, and it talks a lot about the industry, because it really is. It's a huge industry, and it's kind of a rip-off industry because there's no reason why test strips should cost $1. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Insulin, like when I started taking Lantus, it was $60 for a vial, and now in the United States it's like 125 or 130, and that's just rip-off. There's no two ways about it. I started to do some research about doing it through your clothes, and there is a study that they found that people that give themselves a shot through their clothes, that they have lower numbers, A1C numbers, and I can believe it. So you don't have to take your clothes off to give yourself a shot. You can just do it. And doctors are always saying, oh, don't do that, don't do that. You know, and you can reuse stuff. They always say not to reuse needles. You can reuse needles. Just the A1C tells the tale. It's like day by day, you know, they want you to put all the stuff on the computer, but it's not looking over the long thing. It's like, it's what you do today. It's what you do at breakfast. It's what you do at lunch. It's what you do at dinner. It's how you end the night, you know. And when you first have diabetes, you should just test all the time, because then you know what the parameters are. So I eat half of this scone, what's that going to do to my blood sugar? What makes my blood sugar? I can't even look at rice. If I look at rice, my blood sugar goes up, I swear. But other things like berries, for instance, that have a lot of natural sugar in them, are relatively moderate. You know, and people always try to cook for you and they say, well, I didn't put any sugar in that. Well, sugar is just like a minor part of it. It's the carbohydrates. You know, if you just look on the carbohydrate label and kind of scope out how many carbs there are and everything, you can pretty much work your way through anything. There's a whole thing about, they call that the glycemic index. And while that gets off on its own crazy, the idea of glycemic index is how fast the carbohydrate is available to your blood. And of course, the slower it's available, the better off. So some things like sugar just goes blam right into your blood, or rice. But then there's other things that take longer, like oatmeal, for instance, which has maybe the same amount of carbs, but is available to your body slower. A couple of things that I like to use, for instance, the narrowest lancet for the little thing for your meter. I find those are less painful. Some of the ones that come with the meters are just awful. I don't know what they're like nails, and you like wham them in and you get a big huge blood sample, but it really hurts. But those little skinny ones, man, they're really awesome. And for that kind of stuff, it's probably worthwhile to B&D's kind of the industry leader with stuff like that, and it's probably worth it to spend a little extra money and get the real thing. And you can reuse them. Don't change, you know. I mean, basically they would like you to change it every time because they're selling them, but
it's kind of like the shampoo thing.
Nobody's gonna be using your Lancet but you, so it really doesn't make any difference. So anyway, there's the Slacker's Guide to Diabetes.